Solium Infernum is an amazing strategy game, but it's so steeped in theme that it can be hard to get into as a beginner because you can't quite tell how the different systems interact and what they all do and how to accomplish certain things. So I'm going to go through some of those things. This is not a replacement for the tutorial. This is stuff that I think the tutorial didn't quite cover well. If you found this video and you don't know what Solium Infernum is, really quickly, this is actually a remake by League of Geeks of a 2009 game by a solo developer called Cryptic Comet. And I describe it basically as Master of Magic kind of meshed with the Casus Belli system that you get from a game like Crusader Kings, all boiled down to almost a board game. And it's really good. It's really intense. It offers a ton of strategic choices and forces you to make really serious choices. And it also, through the systems in it, keeps the end game from being a slog the way you get in a game like Civ. But we'll get into all that. Okay, so the basic structure of the game is that you want to get the most prestige possible. And you do that through a number of ways. And in this, I am still very much a beginner. I don't know all the strategies that you can use. So I don't know if you can try a sort of a non-combat approach. Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. Those are the kinds of things I still need to learn about. So let's get down really into the basics. So you start off, and this is a mid-game state here, with your stronghold and an army, and then there are a bunch of neutral places of power across the map that can be captured. And as you can see in some of these cases, like I have captured this unholy fountain, but the Testament of Tyrants is still neutral. Additionally, you can see that the hexes here of the map have different color outlines, and those outlines indicate who controls those, and those are called cantons, the hexes. And you gain control of a hex either by walking over it if it's a neutral hex, or if you have a state of war with an opponent, you can, when your army ends your turn and the hex is connected to another hex that you control, you will gain control of that. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a lot to this game. So the basics, real basics, are that every turn you get either 2 or 3 orders that you can give. And basically everything that you do in the game, except for reactions, is an order. So if I want to move this unit, as I have, I thought I had that set up. So if I want to move this unit to attack the Theater of the Sloth, that's an order. And you can see it's taking up one of the 2 slots. And that's all you get each turn. You just get 2 or 3 things you can do. Really quickly, I want to talk about this because this was something that confused me. How do you unlock the order slot? Well, so it says by raising your power level to 4. How do you, sorry, a power level to 4. So originally, here are the power levels. I didn't understand that. What you have to do is just get this to 4. How do you get this to 4? Well, that was confusing to me because I saw these that are glowing, and these that I can, well, the glowing ones are the ones I already have, so I have level 2 in Destruction. But how do I get level 3 Charisma? I don't get it. What do I need to do? Well, actually, all I need to do is be able to afford it. So you can see that because I can afford the level 3, that's why it's got this outline. You can see that because the 3rd level of Destruction would cost 3, and I've been calling these guys spooky ghosts, and 7 flames, and I have 7 spooky ghosts and only 3 flames, I can't afford to purchase this. That's why it does not have an outline the way this does. And that confused me initially. So it's just pure money that allows you to upgrade your power levels. Another important thing to understand, and the tutorial does go after this, is that every turn there's a regent, and the regent is basically the first player marker, plus they get a couple other benefits. And the order basically goes to the right, looping back. So everybody takes their first order, starting with the regent. So Mammon, or Mammon, would be the regent now, and Mammon will go, then I'll go, then Belial will go, then Erzsébet will go, and then Mammon will start with his second order, and then it'll go around. And if anyone has a third order, it'll go around in that order. So that's important for you to remember when you're planning your actions, because depending on which order slot you do, if there were an opposing force, well, actually, this is a great example. So there's this angelic host. Now, the angelic host goes, I believe, before all of us. So this isn't actually a good example. This is an NPC-controlled event character, which has come from heaven down into hell to destroy our legions. And but if it had been a regular unit from Erzsébet, let's just say, if Erzsébet had a unit here, well, because I'm going to go before Erzsébet on this order, it's important for me, in order to take over the Theater of the Sloth without Erzsébet doing it first, that I go and put my move and attack in the first slot. Because if I put it in the second slot, she would be able to potentially get there first. Now, let's talk about, actually, let's keep on slots for a moment. So there are various actions that you can take that get you resources, like seeking tribute or seeking manuscripts. These things matter because there's which order you put them in, because there's like a pool of tribute and manuscripts that's basically randomly created every turn, and you get a pick from better quality if you do it first. And of course, doing it first doesn't necessarily, I think, mean that you get anything better, although it does say that there's an explicit order slot penalty for doing the second. I don't really know what the nature of that is. If it just randomly generates for order slot one, and then randomly generates worse stuff for order slot two. But in some way, there's a penalty, and so you get worse stuff if you gather resources in your second or third slot. Okay, so that's all that stuff. Now let's quickly talk about the Casus Belli, because that's a really cool system. Basically, even though we are all archfiends and we all hate each other, we are not allowed to openly attack each other or even capture each other's territory unless we have this Casus Belli, which is a historical, basically legal justification for an attack. And so fortunately, in this game, unlike, for example, Crusader Kings, it's very easy to generate a Casus Belli. Basically, all you have to do through the diplomacy system is do something that your opponent will reject. So in this case, what's happened here is that I think I demanded tribute from Erzsébet. Erzsébet denied me, and actually, it must be the opposite way, sorry, because she has declared a vendetta on me. So I think she demanded some tribute of me, just like Mammon here is demanding tribute of me. I rejected her demand, and as a result, by doing that, I've effectively insulted her, and in the laws of hell, she's allowed to declare a vendetta. So basically, the way the rules work in hell is that you can not openly attack anyone, but you can demand something, and they either have to acquiesce or you get to declare a vendetta. So that's how the Casus Belli system happens. But you have to remember, you have to think ahead, because that's going to be 3 turns. So on turn 1, she made the demand of me, and then I received it on the next turn and gave my response. On the turn after that, she received my response and then decided to do the vendetta. And then the vendetta went into place the turn after that. And so that gives you a lot of opportunity to plan ahead for where your troops are going to be, and it gives you some outlook. So it's difficult for anyone to really surprise attack you because you always have several turns ahead that you're aware of something happening. And then the vendettas, the way they work is they are time limited, and they typically have an objective to complete. So let's go on to schemes, actually. Let's see, I haven't actually done that much with schemes. I did something with schemes in the tutorial, and not since then. So you know what? Okay, so plot a scheme. So it's in order to plot a scheme, and so similarly, basically, by declaring this, I'm using an order slot this turn to plot a scheme, so the next turn I choose the scheme. And schemes are things like, the example that I chose in the tutorial was defeat something without taking any damage. So when you do that, you get prestige, which again is the big points that are going to ultimately declare or indicate the winner. Whoever has the most prestige at the end, with some caveats, is the winner of the game. Now, you don't want to just completely, and I know I'm going all over the place, but there are a bunch of systems that are interconnected, so it's important to touch on them while the theme is hot. So in addition to the powers, right, increasing the powers, you also have this rank, and you can spend prestige to increase your rank. And you would want to do this because it improves the quality of your tribute, and I believe also your manuscripts, but most importantly, your tribute. Now, the tutorial, I think, does a disservice and says that the gain tribute or seek tribute order is very boring. And so when I started out in the tutorial, I was like, well, all right, I guess I don't really want to do seek tribute that much. But actually, money is everything in this game. And let's talk about money for a second, because even money is a little bit confusing. So there are 4 currency types, which I've, again, just called Spooky Ghost, Flames, the Moon, and do I have any of the blood? Oh, yeah, blood. Here we go. And blood. And sometimes, so these tokens are of this many units. This is 2 moons. So when you just have a single type of currency in a slot, you can stack them like this, or they will stack like this with a number. If you get multiple different tokens of, in the same currency unit, all right, I got to explain that a little bit because it's slightly confusing. Because I was confused, like, what the heck is this? Basically, you can't think of these as individual coins. They are an immutable unit of currency. So these 2 moons cannot be split apart into 2 single moons. So if I ever wanted to buy something that was only 1 moon, I would not be able to take this 2 moon and get my 1 moon back. I would overpay for that thing. So you can have multiple different types of currency on a single coin, and that's when it starts looking like this. So you can see this one is worth 2 spooky ghosts and 1 blood. This one's 1 spooky ghost and 1 blood. Now, when you're paying for things, and let me get out of this interface. So one thing also to notice is that this is a kind of old school interface with a bunch of like randomly placed little small X's for you to close with. Don't love that part about the game, but it's a small complaint. So if we go to the bazaar and we want to purchase something, and we see, oh, okay, yes, I don't have any order slots. So again, like there's the X over here, because this is acting like some kind of modal window, but then I don't X out of this over here, I go back over here. So I'm going to right click on the plot scheme in order to get rid of that. And now we're going to put a bid on here. So you can see there are only 8 coin slots when you're placing a bid, and you can see here that I need 5 spooky ghosts and 5 blood. So if you have a bunch of single currencies like this, then you might not be able to pay for the thing in the 8 slots. So there is an action. Again, almost everything in this game takes an order, called Consolidate. And that allows you to basically mash a bunch of stuff together, and you can see that you can even take the multi-tokens. Here's what I'm going to get. I'm going to get something that's like 3 spooky ghosts, a blood, and 4 moons. So that's sometimes necessary in order to be able to pay for stuff. And you can see some of the things in the bazaar. It's very expensive. 3 spooky ghosts, 6 blood, 6 flame, 6 moons. You're going to have to consolidate. But this is also one of the super powerful types of creatures with an upkeep. So just keep that in mind. You may sometimes be gaining tribute in the hopes of being able to purchase something, but then it will tell you, oh, wait, you can't purchase. You have to consolidate first, because even though you have the money, it's dispersed over too many tokens. So that's consolidating. And let's see, is there anything else on the Sanctum? I don't think there is. When you're Regent, you'll gain an event card that you can then hold onto, so you can use that after you're the Regent. It's something that refreshes every time you're Regent. You can use that on any turn. It's of course an order. You have to pay for it, and it will apply whatever event it says. Let's talk about rituals really quickly. So here again, something that I'm not sure of is how you gain the ability to have more than one ritual active at a time. I only have the 1 slot, and I've honestly so far only ever needed the 1 slot, so it's not something I've looked into. But basically, let's get back to this. Oops, sorry, not that. The powers. So the powers here dictate what rituals you have. So I have, for example, on the destruction line, Infernal Affliction, and also Hedge Wizard. So those are 2 things that I can do. Or what is this? Destruction Conjurer? No. Okay, it's actually Infernal Affliction is the ritual, and Corrupt Tribute is also another ritual that I get at this level. I no longer have, I don't think, Enfeeble and Simple Destruction Schemes. I don't think those are here anymore. And if we look over here, we can see Enfeeble, okay, and Infernal Affliction 1. But I don't think, yes, we don't see, and especially if we, here we go. So we have, if I look just on the destruction line, we have Corrupt Tribute, Enfeeble, and then Infernal Affliction. So if we look over here, oops, I keep doing that because it just feels like, so we have Infernal Affliction, Corrupt Tribute, and okay, so we have Infernal Affliction, Corrupt Tribute, and Enfeeble. So Simple Destruction Schemes is a scheme. That's why we don't have it here, and so that's why we don't see it in the ritual. So you do get all the rituals of all levels, and you can see that the rituals have a cost on the bottom, and some of them, I think some of them are just like typically one shots, but I'll use one example, which is Elocution. You can auto select. Okay, so here's a great example. Like I don't have a 1 blood coin, and this thing only costs 1 blood to cast, so I have to waste the blood on it. But if we look at this, it gives me 1 additional vote, and also it gives me 3 to 5 prestige every time someone else targets any other Archfiend with a declaration or demand or insult. I get 3 to 5 prestige, and that's something that you can keep ongoing as long as you pay the 1 blood every turn. Kind of cool. I mean, people insult each other, demand things, and declare things almost every turn. And especially if you get into a larger turn with like 6 players, that's going to be a lot of not free prestige. You're paying a blood for it every turn, but that's a pretty efficient use of money to get prestige. But the point is that that's how those 2 are linked. You upgrade the powers to gain different ritual cards and different schemes, and you're able to then play those and pay for them. The Bazaar. All right, so the tutorial does a pretty good job of this, but the legions are your armies. The praetors they serve 2 purposes. One of them is to upgrade your troops. So if we just pick this one, you can see if you assign these to an army unit, they're going to get melee +1, infernal +3, and this one has no other special abilities. Do any of these have special abilities? No. So unfortunately, the set that I'm looking at don't have any special abilities. But sometimes they will do things like gives you a bonus or more prestige every turn if they're attached to a place of power or something like that. Or maybe like gives the unit the ability to walk through a particular environment like a swamp without any negative effects. You can see also that they have a certain level. So Gussian here is a level 4, Boone or Boone is level 1. And the other thing the Praetors can do for you is fight basically in the arena. So they act as your champion, and you can choose. So I'm going to go back to this vendetta with Erzsébet that she declared against me. Instead of having a vendetta or declaring a vendetta, often you can choose as your retribution upon someone that your champions will fight in the arena. And when you do that, you declare your Praetor, and then they choose their Praetor, and they will fight. But sometimes, and especially early game, not everybody has a Praetor. And so if they don't, you just automatically win. And that's a ton of free prestige if you can do that. But you don't always know, and I'm just going to click on Erzsébet here, if she has Praetors. Oh, okay, I guess I know she has that Praetor. I'm not sure how I know that, but I do know that she has one. So there's a limited amount of intel. Here we go. So I have no knowledge for Belial, so if I were to challenge him to an arena duel, I don't know. I might just win outright because he doesn't have any, or he might have a really strong one. If you want to find out if he does, there's a ritual for that. It is, which one? Actually, I might not have anything on that line. I think I don't have the power for it. Yeah, so prophecy, dark augury is, I believe, what we want. Yeah, so scrying bowl. You get the ability here with prophecy to, no, that's to improve your chances. Somewhere one of these lines allows you to gain intel. I thought it was prophecy, but at any rate, one of these gives you some intel on opponents. Okay, so that's the arena combat. If you choose to do that, you basically pick an attack type, and there's a rock, paper, scissors kind of circle of impact. I actually still don't fully understand how that works. In other words, I don't know if it's as simple as rock, paper, scissors, because there's also a strength, as you can see right here. Each of these abilities also has a number associated with it. So I don't know how the rock, paper, scissors interacts with that system yet. So I'm still learning and trying to figure that out. I've won every arena combat I've done so far, but I think it's pure luck. Okay, so then you have artifacts. These basically just give, similar to Praetors, they give bonuses. So you can attach them to units. You can also place them on places of power. And similarly, let's see, so this one's specifically related to units, but I think that there are some here that are more valuable to be placed on a place of power. And then there are manuscripts, and manuscripts are basically abilities that you can have your Praetors do, but you often have to collect the whole thing. And this is an example of something that just doesn't feel worth it with the limited number of orders you have. But maybe I'm wrong here. And maybe there's a particular strategy that involves leveling up a Praetor, getting it really powerful, just getting Casus Belli and using that to challenge people to duels and gaining tons of prestige for that. I think it's entirely possible that that's a valid strategy to approach the game with. I just have not, I don't have enough experience to know that or not yet. Okay, so hopefully that helped. I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to describe. You can only move a unit once per turn, so I couldn't, for example, tell these guys to attack this Theater of Sloth and then walk somewhere else. I can't tell them to attack twice per turn. It's one order per unit, and I only actually have one unit right now. And you can see also here I've attached this Praetor to this unit. I'm really hoping that this Archangel doesn't kill them, because it will kill the Praetor. Oh, okay, great. So you can see that these are Swamp Walkers. Did that come from him? No. Okay, they are natural Swamp Walkers. You can use a Praetor who's attached to a unit in the arena combat. So don't hold them back unattached just because they are you want them for the arena. But you do put them at risk if their unit dies, the Praetor dies. Oh, something important. Units can heal. You can see my unit here has 8 hit points remaining out of 11. They heal one hit point per turn anytime they are next to a place of power that you control. So I'm going to take damage at the Theater of the Sloth, and if the Archangel doesn't kill me, then every turn I stand next to the theater, or the Great Wheel of Pain, or my Stronghold, or the Unholy Fountain, because I control all of those. Oh, or the Wood of Suicides. I've got a lot of territory, lots of places of power in this game. They will heal 1 per turn. There is a support mechanism, so that if I had 2 units, let's say I had a unit also right here, or in this purple space, which I actually can't enter right now because, oh no, it's Erzabet. I could enter because I do have the vendetta, the war with Erzabet. So if you have 2 units next to or touching the canton of combat, I'm going to explain that in a sec, then they will support each other and you'll get benefits. What that means with the touching each other or the canton of combat basically means that if it's not about whether or not the unit is touching your unit, it's about whether or not the other unit is also in range of the space that's that the combat is happening in. So if I had a unit sitting over here, it would not be able to help with the Theater of the Sloth, but over here or over here, they would. All right, I think that's about it. So hopefully that helped. Please ask if you've got any questions. I'm happy to go over any other systems that I haven't talked about. But I think that this should get you on the road towards faster success than I had. Again, I think the tutorial is really good. I would recommend that you now, having watched this video, or maybe having stopped the tutorial and come to watch this video, do the tutorial, because the tutorial is actually really good about teaching you how to play. It's just not that great about giving that extra piece of explanation as to how things fit together. And have fun with this. I think it's a really incredible game. I'm really impressed with particularly the 2 order systems. I think that they've done a really great job here of making something that's just like more than a board game could really do without becoming unmanageable or becoming one of those 12-hour session board games, but also keeping it really streamlined from the perspective of a strategy game. It's really hit this really nice balance, and also the theming is just so good. So enjoy.